Like, I think even when I was very, very young, all I could think about and all I got attracted to were books. Like, I didn't need anything else. I either read or I wrote. Like, when I was not reading, I was writing. When I was not writing, I was reading. So I
Wow.
think the words would always just keep flowing. Writing is mostly me connecting to uh, the universe, connecting to specific book energies, say connecting to masters, connecting to the universe's language of having to bring something into the physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
And dancing is me again connecting to universal energy, but through just plainly through my body. Even knowing that I'm a animal communicator, or I don't even want to use such specific words. I think I just connect to animals and to insects and nature in general. To like when there's an animal walking and they have something to tell you, they're going to look at you, and you're just going to know that okay, that animal is telling me something, be it a cat, be it a dog, whatever it might be. I recently went to the zoo, and you won't believe, I was like, hey, there were specific animals that I could connect to, and there were specific animals that didn't really want to connect. And I think it's all about energies and energy fields, right? So I guess I hung on for several years because, yeah, on one hand, I was able to still dance and write and do a lot of these things. On the other hand, the money was being very useful to help all of those animals. So I think that's why I hung on for so long. But when I hit the magical number 7, it was a very clear message that, I'm done.
Hi and welcome to Soul Velocity. I am Snehal Singh, your host, and I'm excited to take you on this incredible journey where we tap into the wisdom of entrepreneurs, authors, and creative visionaries, people who are transforming the world in ways we cannot even imagine. As the name suggests, Soul Velocity is all about finding that pivotal direction for your soul, mind, and body. A place where deep, real conversations ignite the fire to keep you moving forward. Right now, I'm thrilled to bring you a special series called as Voices and Verses 100 Authors and Countless Stories. This series is all about celebrating the writing world, connecting with authors, publishers, marketers, entrepreneurs, screenwriters, playwriters, and filmmakers who are shaping the stories that inspire us all. Through these conversations, my goal is to encourage aspiring writers, support seasoned authors, and spark new ideas that can inspire you to take you on your own creative journey to the next level. Whether you're here to learn, connect, or simply just enjoy some amazing stories, you are in the right place. Let's dive in together. Hello and welcome to our next episode of Soul Velocity, Voices and Verses, where we're talking to 100 authors and listening to their countless stories. Some souls are born with poetry in their breath, rhythm in their feet, and magic in their hearts. Today's guest is one such cosmic wanderer, Snigdha Mallik, a writer who lets words find her, dancer who moves to the music only she can hear, and a mother raising magic human mushrooms, and a healer discovering the language of energy. This conversation today is a journey through her many lives. And let's tune into that. So, Snigdha, first of all, thank you so much for being here and giving us your time. And a special thank you as well for contributing not one but two beautiful stories to Navrasa as well, and being a part of that amazing synergy. So, thank you.
Hi, Snehal, and thank you so much for including me in Navrasa. It has been a wonderful journey, meeting the authors, like, online talking, being part of the book, just feeling that energy. It has been wonderful. So, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Snigdha, today's conversation, as I started, is going to be kind of very much in, playing between multiple worlds or verses, as we can say, where we're going to talk about the energy world. We're going to talk a little bit of logical and things that a logical mind understands. But let's just deep dive into it if you're up for it. They say
Absolutely.
that some souls come into this world already holding stories. You have been a writer. So, do you feel like writing chose you before you chose it? How has it happened?
Absolutely. Like, I think even when I was very, very young, all I could think about and all I got attracted to were books. Like, I didn't need anything else. I either read or I wrote. Like, when I was not reading, I was writing. When I was not writing, I was reading. So I
Wow.
think the words would always just keep flowing. And somewhere we have the inner voice, right? The inner voice always said, "You're meant to write." There was, I always heard I'm meant to write, giving off optimism and giving people like making people think that there's a lot to life, that there is a lot of hope and there's a lot of good things coming. So I think every poem or every story that I've written has always factored in that. So yeah.
Interesting. And this also says a lot about what you did as a child. Okay, so and you do write poetry, you write fiction. You have also very beautifully catered as you are into training as well and deliveries. There is a lot towards non-fiction. Knowingly, unknowingly, you write the content. So let's talk a little bit about poetry. I'm so fascinated with poetry recently. So if your poetry had a voice of its own, what would it whisper about the little girl within you who held that pen for the first time?
I think it would talk about how that girl somewhere had to find the light within herself and spread the light. I think that's what my poetry has always been about. And now looking back, I realize how many poems I've written about from darkness to light, from night to day. I now see that the theme was always about finding like the light within and to just shine and just radiate and shine.
Interesting. You have written a lot of books as well. So, How I Met My Friends is one of the books created by you. So, stories often carry the essence of the writer's soul. So, which part of your soul lives inside How I Met My Friends?
I think it's that childhood that I really miss. Where we would just go stand in front of people's houses, call out their names, and my friends would come running, and we'd just go to the park. We would just have fun. We didn't need devices. We didn't need toys. We didn't need puzzles. We didn't need anything. We were like one with nature, one with the ground, one with the playground, just being ourselves and just being children and enjoying. And somewhere I see that that is missing here, and I think that's how I met my friends like that's how the idea crept in slowly into my mind, that I had to communicate how it was when we were children, but it had to be done catering to the present generation. So I think that's how the book also flowed.
But it's interesting, right? And as you see, your work totally comes from the line of being connected with nature and, even finding healing or communication through nature itself. So, this is something that happens a lot during NLP workshops, okay, where we have this conversation where, the behavior of children at times we don't understand. We keep talking about, uh, my child just lies on the floor and just doesn't get up at times, and it's so easy to tell that they're looking for grounding and they're understanding that and they're just choosing to be closer to nature. So I'm so glad that you're talking about this because sorry about that. I'm so glad that you're talking about this because uh, I think we all have ourselves forgotten to let ourselves free in a space where we're not getting judged. Like I remember initially when we used to go, to resorts or any places where we are conducting workshops, we're choosing that place because it has a lot of greenery. And yet we are choosing not to step on the grass and sit there, instead doing trainings in the AC inside the room. So thank you actually for writing this book and um, sharing or initiating that journey again. Uh, what and how do you connect to the words? Like, do words flow through you like a cosmic download, or do they arrive slowly? Because we all are different kinds of writers. Some do plan and write. So do they arrive slowly like secret letters from the universe? What is your way of receiving in this?
I've always been spontaneous, and my writing is pretty spontaneous too. So I just go with the flow. just when I think there are limited words, like when I've written for the Right India contest, I had to be very mindful about the number of words. So, and about how this story turns, like I wanted to give a twist because it was a competition.
Right.
So I think based on which platform I'm writing for, that is probably one of those examples where I had to think and say, this is the twist I will give. And then I went with the flow of words. So probably one or two places where I've planned. Everywhere else, I think it was just going with the flow.
Beautiful. So my question here is going a little beyond than the work that people have seen. So you do write regularly in general. So is it that you tune into a particular energy, or is it that, as you said, I feel like writing and I just sit down? So is it like a cosmic download that's happening? Or is there any particular piece of writing that feels like a soul fragment, one that just came through you and not from you? Are there any such experiences that you have had?
Can I say it's a combination of all of this? Sometimes you just know you're supposed to sit and write, so I just sit and the words just flow. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I haven't written anything today. Why don't I write something? And then I'm able to just reflect for a moment and write. But I think it's usually the words flowing through us.
Hmm.
We are normally channelizing, even whether we realize it or not. I think now I'm much more of a conscious, like an aware channelizer channel. So now I'm able to say, okay, this is coming through me. Earlier I'd be like, okay, I have to write this, so it has to be perfect and whatnot. But now just saying, it's coming through me, so just write what's coming. Of course, there are places like with raising magic mushrooms, I had to think and write. I had to think of what examples I had to give because it couldn't be a complete fiction, boring theoretical book. So there are times when we have to think, we have to reflect on what we need to write. But once the reflection part is done, the words for that also flow automatically. So
Beautifully said. Sunil, there is another side to you that is the dancer. So you have danced all your life, okay, like childhood to college to the IT world that you worked in, and we'll talk about the corporate world as well. But do you feel that before pen, poetry, writing, dance is your first language before words?
I don't know. I think both of them are in the same place because words are like me channelizing words literally and writing. Dance is me just being one with my body. So, yeah, probably that's one of the things that I started off with because as a child, we don't know, we don't know the language enough to write. So, yeah, I think I was always one to move, one to just be in the flow. So, yes.
uh, so if in this moment, okay, if you could close your eyes right now and let your body move without thought, what story would your dance tell?
One of just being in the flow, just being in the moment. I think what I'm starting to discover or what I'm starting to come to through my entire journey now is to just be in every moment and live life to the fullest. I've always said the words, live life to the fullest. I've always put it in my status and whatnot. And now I realize what it truly meant because at the point that I put it, I think I always thought that I'm supposed to just laugh in every moment. And now I realize that no matter what is the area of emotion, what is the situation that I'm going through, whatever it might be, to me, being in the flow is being with whatever is happening in every moment.
I can so relate to that because I live with someone whose mantra for life since I ever met him is live life king size, and he just doesn't just say it, he actually lives by it. So I can actually relate to that. But let's talk about what you just said, that is laughing out loud and just being ourselves. There is something mystical about the way children move freely without shame, whether it is dancing, whether it is laughing, whether it is just jumping around, whatever it is, okay. And you are someone who is a change maker. So what did teaching children, dance reveal to you about your own unfiltered self expressions?
I realized that over the years, I'd picked up so many patterns, beliefs, so many defenses, masks. and somewhere I'd forgotten to connect to my authentic self. And by discovering, by going back to slowly, unveiling the masks, talking to myself and saying it's okay, because it is scary to show who we really are. And before we show to the world, when we find who we really are, that is still scary because we have taken years to sort of put those masks in. So to actually like slowly peel off those layers and find myself has been a journey. And I think just looking at children helps us somewhere know that it's possible to completely connect to ourselves. And it's a reminder to not dump our beliefs and all of our masks onto them also, because we want them to stay connected to who they are and not have to change just because of us or just because of the world. So
I
I'm
think that's
not
a
sure if
great
I
point.
answered what you were
No,
asking.
you did. See, that's what I think we do, right? We mask them knowingly or unknowingly, wherein we are on our own journey of unmasking ourselves. And as you rightly said, confronting others at times is much easier than we confronting our own selves and saying, "Hey, this is who you are at your core, and this was not yours, and this was given to you." And if we actually sit down to start giving people, giving away what was not ours in terms of beliefs and in terms of opinions, I think we'll find a completely different self of ours.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is not so easy. But you have been doing it very beautifully, whether it is through writing or whether it is through, dance or rhythm. Do you find connection between writing and dance? Like, do you ever feel that universe sends you messages even through rhythm and movement? What is your take on that?
I think writing is mostly me connecting to uh, the universe, connecting to specific book energies, say connecting to masters, connecting to the universe's language of having to bring something into the physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
And dancing is me again connecting to universal energy, but through just plainly through my body, by just being, like I said again, one with my body and just feeling the um, okay. So for example, when I'm say meditating, I have begun to realize that my hands are automatically making like the infinity shape. And then I realize, okay, I'm connected to the core resource energy, or I'm making the triangle unknowingly, and I've kept it like near the sacral chakra and all of that. So I think with dance also, I'm just often moving. Sometimes there are steps that come, and I'm like, hey, I have to make this step, and I just skip and do the step, and then I'm okay to move. So whatever that charge of energy that comes, I think it's just portrayed through my body, and then I move on. So yeah.
Beautiful. Uh, it's interesting how something somewhere or the other everything does come down to actions because writing is an action and a movement. Dance also is movement, and many a times I think we choose to be so still that movement is not there and stagnancy of energy starts beginning. So in a way, something that was just coming to me is movement is the key ingredient to stay connected with the nature in many, many, many ways. Now, let's move towards, something that has always intrigued me, and I have chosen to not ask you this question before. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you today is Raising Magic Human Mushrooms, the name of your book. Okay, it genuinely feels like a spell waiting to unfold kind of thing, very rhythmic. It does have a deeper meaning to it. So what made you choose this as a metaphor, like raising magic human mushrooms?
So I just realized that mushrooms don't always just grow. There are a lot of times that they're growing one above the other. Feels like they're sheltering the younger ones, taking care of them, giving them a safe environment from, say, extreme heat, extreme rain, and they're able to raise them with love. So I know the mushrooms are sort of raising on their own, but that safe space is what I began to call mushroom parenting when the book had sort of reached, like, towards the last draft and all that. The words mushroom parenting kept coming. And I thought, yeah, I'm sort of relating to this. And we also wanted to use animated, very cartoon like figures for the book and nothing serious. So when my friend presented like my co-author and me with about three figures, we just automatically went for the mushroom. And I said, yeah, this has to, there is a correlation, we're thinking mushroom parenting, we're imagining all that. And she presents with such cute mushroom drawings. We're like, this is what it's going to be. And magic mushrooms have a completely different meaning. So in bracket, we said human mushrooms.
Mushrooms, got it. But you have often spoken about unconditional parenting, like many a times, even when we're just talking about things and world and how it is shifting and changing. You have spoken about unconditional parenting. So how did your connection with animals, plant the seed of this philosophy? Because there is, see, again, you're coming a lot from nature, whether it is mushrooms or your connect with animals and so on. So, how did your connection with animals plant the seed of, for this philosophy?
So Spike was a Labrador who came into my life, and I am absolutely 200% sure that he just came to show us unconditional love, because that's literally what he did all his life. The 12 years that he lived with us, he's just shown us unconditional love, and somewhere that seed was planted, saying it is possible. Like one of us, we were so many members in the house. So one of us would be having a bad day, one of us would be having a good day. Someone was in a position to show him love, someone was too busy, whatever it might have been. He was himself 100%. He was himself showing that love. Like he's like, I am giving you love. You receive it when you can, you don't. It's okay. But I am here. I am giving you love. And slowly the thing set in, that it is possible to love unconditionally. And we begin to understand that it has to come from us first, like to be able to love ourselves, you know and it's very hard to love ourselves unconditionally, but to give that sort of a gift to a child is something else, to let them know that it is possible. That, and of course when they're very young, they're so dependent on us that they're not able to look inwards for that love. They don't even know what that is.
True.
So to know that it is possible to receive it will hopefully lead them to look inwards and love themselves like that at some point. So I think that's where it's all coming from.
I so agree with you. I think we're going to go to that a little bit more about how animals come into our life and what do they come for. But just before that, right now I do have a question for you, and that is, if every child came into this world carrying their own soul blueprint, okay, what do you think parents' role is? To shape or to simply protect the magic? Like, what, according to you, is a parent's role in a situation like this?
There are points when you're going to have to just protect the child for who they are. And of course there's only so much protection that you can do. You can't 100%, it's not our job to completely shield them either, because they have to go through their experiences. But through everything that they go through and we go through, if the message we're able to send is that you are loved, being your authentic self, you are loved, and you're very worthy of love. Because what I see is with most of us in our generation, there is this message of unworthiness that is sort of being carried. And I see it coming from multiple people in multiple different ways. So to just say that you're worthy of love no matter what. And I sort of drift apart. Yeah, so also in between all this there are points where we do guide them. That's why we've come with our set of experiences. The child brings their soul into this particular family, so there are things that they learn from us. So there are times where we are capable of guiding, and we should know when we have to actively guide them. And sometimes you're with them while they go through their experiences, so they know they have someone to fall back on no matter what. So yeah, I think it's a balance of both.
So let's go a little step further. What does it mean to you to raise a child not just with love but with this soul awareness? Because we all are raising or nurturing our kids. Okay, nurture would be a better word to use here. Because I also believe that rather than raising, we should nurture. But most of the times we have been always told that do everything with love. Okay. And we are. But
Yeah.
what about that next level which you're talking about, which is that, bringing the soul awareness?
I don't know. I think what I am doing for now is sharing all of my awareness about myself with her, because somewhere I see that once they see the sort of awareness I have, they will discover their own. They'll have their own different journeys and finding their soul and their talents and their life purpose in their own way. But yeah, so what I am doing is sharing my insights into my soul, my journey, my life plan, and whatever I'm going through, I'm generally sharing so that because at 5, I think all they want to do is run and play. So deep talk is not going to cut it. So to just put tiny tidbits of information here and there and say, hey, this is possible. It's possible to connect to masters. God is all around. God is inside us. Small small things which matter at that moment, and you can see that they're absorbing. Though they can't respond to it, there is absorption that is happening. So yeah, I think they will find that
More
path.
from sowing seeds perspective rather than directly taking a plant and expecting the earth to just make it hold. I think that's the
Yeah.
difference here. Thank you for simplifying it. Snigdha, you are amazing when it comes to simplifying things, and uh, you know uh, I love the way you even connect or talk about universe, nature, and especially animals. Okay, being a telepathic communicator, I had to go learn the aspect only and only because I always felt that I've never been connected with pets, or I've never had pets. And otherwise in our regular life we don't as much go out in the wild intentionally connecting with animals. So but for you it is something that comes very naturally, and they say that those who talk to animals carry the oldest souls. So when did you first realize that you could hear their whispers or their conversations?
I don't think it was about suddenly realizing. I think I came, with the knowledge of, it was more from a I know that I'm supposed to listen to them and respond to them perspective than suddenly realizing one day. So I think if I heard a dog cry, I'd be like, hey, that dog is in trouble. And sometimes I'd be like, hey, the dog's okay, just calling for attention. So when I looked at a dog, I'd be like, hey, it's smiling or it's frowning, something is up, to being able to read expressions. I will be completely honest, there's a point where I was so scared that people find me weird about this particular aspect that I think for a huge part I hid it from people, like most people, and I would very secretly sort of talk to animals if no one was around, if the street was empty, and things like that. But I think now I fully embraced. I know it's a natural gift I've given.
I
So
can definitely relate to that part because I have always been very selective of where to express this side of me, where I'm connecting. And for some reason, Snigdha, no matter where I go, okay, cats and dogs will follow, whether the restaurant or whether any place. Okay, there was once that we had to walk out of a restaurant here itself in Pune because, and we were a group of good 14, 15 people. Okay,
okay.
and there
Hmm.
were at least 7 to 8 cats who were just around me and they were not ready to move. So much so that it started scaring the crowd around. And Raj and I were like, let's just, And I started getting a little scared to like, what is it? Okay. And I could sense the energy, and I'm like, okay, now if I talk, what would it? And those times I used to question that, okay, I'm understanding, but how do I tell people that this is what I'm getting as a message? Is it really a message, or is it I making it up? And most times we do question that, is it my inner voice? Am I actually listening into the whisper, or is it my mind creating things because I've trained it to create, or something like that? So I think embracing the side of us is something that does take more than courage. I think it takes acceptance of our role. And what do you think? I'll say what I say, but do you believe that animals choose us, not the other way around?
Yeah, even knowing that I'm a animal communicator, or I don't even want to use such specific words. I think I just connect to animals and to insects and nature in general. Uh, to, like, when there's an animal walking and they have something to tell you, they're going to look at you and you're just going to know that okay, that animal is telling me something, be it a cat, be it a dog, whatever it might be. I recently went to the zoo, and you won't believe, I was like, hey, there were specific animals that I could connect to, and there were specific animals that didn't really want to connect. And I think it's all about energies and energy fields, right? So you just know when the field is open enough that you can just tune in, or you can just connect and say, okay, I know what's going on. Or some of them have this close thing, and they're like, they just let you be, they don't want to connect. So I think it's a mix of both, of knowing if the animal actually wants to talk to you, then they're going to. And sometimes you can just go behind animals and say, hey, hey, and they'll just bark and they'll keep, they'll go their own way. So you know that it's not meant to happen. So yeah, they do choose us. Even with insects that way, I think there have been instances of late. So I was very, very terrified of insects as a child, and for whatever reason, like, they kept choosing, they would keep coming to me, and somehow I never connected the aspect of how I connect to animals, I could connect to insects. I think I was just terrified so much that I could not even consider the possibility of connecting to an insect and listening to what it had to say. I just wanted to be run away from them. So I've spent hours, like, I spent days and hours trying to figure out what to do, what spiders that kept wanting to come, about other insects. So I make sure I'm very safe, and I would make sure there are people around, anyone who can chase away the insect. But my bottom line always was, you're not allowed to kill. No insect is allowed to come near me, but no one's allowed to kill an insect. So they're like, what are we supposed to do? So I think off late is when I really embraced myself, sort of opened up my channels, is when I realized that insects are not so different from animals. They come, they connect. If they want to connect you, they're going to come to you. You're going to be able to feel a message. And if there's nothing that, yeah, well, they're part of nature. So
Is there been any profound lesson or a message that either from animals or the insect world, or the collective consciousness of, a particular insect world, that has ever taught you or given to you, been given to you?
there have been a few instances, yes, but one very evidently stands out in my mind. Like, there was this one time that I was really, really low, and I think this was last year. And I'd written some gratitude. I'd put that paper on the shelf, and I just sort of tried going to sleep. I couldn't fall asleep, and all of a sudden, there's this terrible smell, and I'm like, what's happening? And I just switch on the mobile light, and there's a green beetle right on top of me. And I said, okay. And by then, I think I had started realizing that when such specific instances happen, I can ask, or I can sort of connect and say, hey, what is it for me? So I sort of connected to the insect, and all I heard was gratitude, gratitude. I'm like, okay, I'm already in a feeling very low, and I'm getting something. I don't know if it's real, if I'm just imagining it. And I think, to reaffirm, this sheet that was in the shelf suddenly sort of came floating onto my lap, and I'd written love, 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 gratitude, and so many things in that. And I was like, okay, I get the message. I'm not going to deny anymore. And I think I made gratitude a part of my life, and that has, to just be able to see the wonderful things that we have and just say thanks, from the heart, to know how blessed we are. It has been life changing. So I have to thank that green beetle, which was very silly but came with a very nice message.
I do believe that, animals, insect world definitely will make their way into our lives. Okay, it's not something that we can avoid or so on, and they do make you pause. Like, there was a time when I was going through transformation. And it is very interesting how, frequencies, we always talk about being on the same platform and, connecting with people who have similar frequency. But I think it's the same with the insect world or animal world as well. Every time I've been going through transformation, I will always have so many butterflies in the same space which otherwise may not have. Okay, it's the same flowers, it has equal same garden, home garden that is there, and they will keep showing up every time, a good reminder saying, hey, if you're facing challenges, it's just transformation, hold on, be there. And the meanings that have been derived over a period of time, I I know they probably came very much from scientific evidences at one point in time, but they definitely had a spiritual connotation to it. Like butterflies, we talk about is a transformation. Okay, we do talk about cats when it comes to energies and handling both positive as well as negative energies. Dogs about love, and I think they did come from the spiritual connotation as well. Now, if you feel, okay, if healing, okay, we talk about love frequency a lot, but if healing had a frequency, what would yours sound like right now?
I think it would be very still. Like there would be that frequency, but there would be so much stillness to it, and just being to it, just being one with nature, just being among plants, animals, and even humans. We're all part of nature. Just
True.
how many of us actually realize it is a different thing. We're sometimes so lost. But if we can just sit on the ground or just walk barefoot or just be around. I've realized now that I very unconsciously go and touch trees, and I instantly feel grounded. So places like Carbon Park and parks here are like, I'm like, wow, oh, that tree is calling. I want to touch that tree or this one. So I think it's about being still and one with nature for me. That's probably healing frequency.
Interesting. Snigdha, this is this one side of you which I have seen because I've met you when you have already been on this plane and platform. But you were into a proper so-called technology sector or IT sector, as we call it, and you walked away from a very structured life, a structured career, okay, into an unknown path, okay, which very few dare to tread in, okay. So, what was that moment you knew you couldn't ignore your soul's calling anymore? Was it a moment? Was it like a number of incidents? Or what was it for you?
Um, yeah, it was a soul's calling where the uh, once I joined, I think I was in the same company as in Cognizant for about 7 years. But 2 years into my work, I realized that it was not what I was supposed to be doing all my life. So we do get that, right? And I think it was very clear that I was meant to quit. Then I slowly started getting opportunities where I would just teach dance in Cognizant, where like friends would get together, we would dance, and I've written I think all of my Right India stories being a part of Cognizant. Somehow I there was that thing that was flowing, that part of me was anyway going on. So I thought, okay, since I'm able to be in the IT and still do this, and also there's a lady who's literally given up her life for animals. So I guess I hung on for several years because yeah, on one hand I was able to still dance and write and do a lot of these things. On the other hand, the money was being very useful to help all of those animals. So I think that's why I hung on for so long. But when I hit the magical number 7, it was a very clear message that I'm done. This is the year that I have to quit, because if I hit 8 years in Cognizant, I don't think I'll be able to quit. So I said I'm just taking the step, and I got my H1, so I went to the US, and I decided that once I'm back, it was going to be so I convinced my manager, I convinced the HR. I said I have to go, I have to quit, and somehow it all went very smoothly. Considering that I had a H1, and it's not easy to get, but the HR was very understanding. My manager was very understanding. They said, okay, it's smooth flowing. I'm meant to, I don't think I even saw it as I'm meant to not be in the IT. But the urge from inside was so strong that get out, like enough, your health is affected. I was having to do all that work because whatever I take up, I give my 200%. So I realized that I was giving so much into work, into dancing, into all the other things that it seemed like I was off balance, and it was about time to quit and find my balance. So I said, okay, that's what I will do.
So, what has been your greatest initiation on this journey, of becoming the writer, the mother, the healer? What would you say was your greatest initiation?
Um, Taking quitting was a big step for me, and quitting the IT, I think, and saying that I will just write, I will just teach dance, or I will just do these things. It was a big step, a very courageous step that I had to take in order to, find that balance and be able to do what I love. Because somewhere I had begun believing that if I'm giving so much, if I'm putting effort, there should be some happiness that comes out of it, and it should be into doing what I really love doing, than having to still put in so much of my soul into it but feel like I wasn't happy. So I think taking that step, initiating that step of quitting and saying I will just do what I'm meant to do, we'll see, we'll figure it out, was a big thing for me. Yes.
I love what you're saying, but see, these are the two worlds you're talking about, the magic and the logical world, okay? So, do you believe that stories already exist in the ether and waiting for writers to channel them, or is there, what's your take on that?
Yes, absolutely. Because I was in between writing something when How I Met My Friends suddenly, struck as an idea, and at that time I didn't realize that I could channel and stuff. So I thought, oh, this idea has come, and when it comes, there's a strong calling that write it now because it's come now. So I think when I began writing even the 10 chapters, like I finished it so quickly, the words just came, and I kept, it got over so quickly. I'm like, "Arey, this was one of the easiest things I've written." Though it's like an entire book, it's a small book, yes, but it was 10 chapters, and I was like, this got over very easily, very quickly. Even editing didn't take that much time. So I think they're there, they're waiting. And when writers, I'm sure it's not just about writers. There's a writer in all of us. It's just about whether we sort of tune into that frequency we want to or no. So I think when there are stories that call out to people, be it short stories, be it books. Like recently, there's been a book that has been calling out, and there's, I've spoken to you about it, we have, and there's this thing, group energy, that's come through that book. So we do feel it's out there, and all what we writers can do as channels is to be able to channelize, put them into words, and be able to bring it to the world of humans. So whoever is meant to read it gets to read it.
I
So yeah.
love what you're saying. Uh, there is so much more to our conversations, and I would, want to continue it for longer. But let's come to simple things that we can, help our audiences with if we can today. So, if you had to, okay, give that one spell, one truth you would want every parent to cast on their children before they, let them fly out into the world, what would that be?
um, to just hold space for the child with love and let the child just be themselves.
Hmm. So, what do you think is your soul's medicine in this lifetime? Is it words, rhythm, the simple way you hold spaces for others, simplification? What is it?
I think it's creativity, because I I now realize that I'm channelizing creativity in so many different ways. So I think that's what I'm meant to do.
Beautiful. I love that. And it's such a broader yet niched aspect, And I think we all somewhere or the other are creators and creative, but we have been told so many times that we go looking for creativity. And I have been on that space, even though I've been writing, I always thought that I can only write what I think, and that is not creative. Okay, so though people who do it knowingly or unknowingly are not accepting of this role of theirs, and I'm so glad that you said that it is creativity. Sridhar, we have been having very serious conversations, so I'm going to just flip it for a bit, okay? And we're going to go with a little mystical rapid fire with you. Generally, with others, I or other episodes, I have done rapid fires which are very much related to your favorite movie and so on. But with you, we're going to do a little bit mystical one. If you're up for it, rapid fire, I'll go ahead and ask you a few questions. Say what comes to your mind first.
Okay.
Okay. If
Yeah.
your soul had a soundtrack, what would play on loop?
I think right now it is Namo Namo from Kedarnath. I feel like I connect to my soul every time I listen to that song. Connect to like the metaphysical world. So yeah,
Perfect. Spirit animal?
dog. I see a dog licking, but I think that sort of also changes. For now, it's a dog.
One book that cracked your heart open.
Pride and Prejudice. I'm not sure why I've read it like 6, 7 times, and I can keep reading it. But yeah, something about the underlying layers. Yeah,
I can relate. Moonlight or sunrise?
that's a tough one to choose from. Okay, sunrise for now.
Writing by candlelight or dancing under the stars?
Dancing under the stars.
If you could sit in silence with one writer, living or dead, who would it be?
Ruskin Bond.
I agree. The secret ingredient of magic human mushroom.
Live examples.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that quick one. And just as my closing question for you, Snigdha, is if the universe handed you a pen right now and asked you to write a single line that would echo across time and space, what would that line be?
Live life to the fullest. Live every moment the way it's meant to be lived.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I think today we have had an amazing conversation. I didn't even realize how time passed by because we have been talking for a while now. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for just being that, that amazing soul. And if you have anything to say before I close, please go ahead.
Thank you, Snehal. I think this is the first time I've even spoken about all these different worlds of mine in one place because I think there are a few people who connect to the animal part, few people who connect to the writer part in me, few people who just connect to the logical part of me. So this is the first place where I've actually spoken about all of this together. So thank you for such wonderful questions, for such an open space where I could talk so much, and for Navrasa. I mean, what an amazing book energy the book has, and thank you so much for bringing that to life.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And guys, that was Snigdha Malik for you, a soul who reminds us that magic grows quietly in poems and dances, in gentle hands, and in every child who is given permission to just simply be. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you next time. Until then, please remember we all are born abundant. All we need to do is claim that abundance by taking one step at a time. I hope you took that one step today. And if you haven't, the day is not over yet. Thank you.